Morgan Thomas, welcome back to the Rebel Agent podcast.
I'm back. I'm delighted to be here. You've had some very good names, some very big names in the meantime. So I actually feel honored that you've invited me back. And I'll just add a little caveat to this as well, is that watching this channel grow has been immensely good to watch, very a privilege to watch. And I hope that it continues to do so. So if there's anyone out there who is sat at the moment, where's the camera? There is. If there's anyone sat there at the moment who's sat on the fence whether to come and do it, come and do it. And I'm looking directly at the camera to say that because Dave's the man. He's definitely the one to lead the way with podcasts.
I have not paid Morgan to.
He hasn't. It's genuine, off the cusp. So
I'm flattered. Yeah, it's really nice of you, and it's great to have you back as the first returning guest. You were the first guest and the first returning guest.
There we go.
And if it hadn't gone well that first podcast, I wouldn't have bothered. I wouldn't have carried on.
Well, it went okay. And as I said, you've gone bigger and better since, right?
I really appreciate you coming on and taking a punt and done 20 odd episodes now. So
there we go. I'd say take a look at us now. So, take a look at you now.
I want to get into you're now head of leasing.
Head of leasing. Yeah, it's been
congratulations.
Thank you very much. So you and I last spoke in Feb at the start of the year. So that's 9 months since we've spoken, and a lot's happened in that period of time in life, in real estate, at E&T in particular as well. But I'm now the leasing manager at Edwards and Towers. That became official on September 1st as of this year. And it's been an interesting one so far. It's actually been quite an interesting experience. It's been a very different experience. So moving from the training to doing the leasing manager role, there's some similarities because the people who come and join my team are people who are fresh off the boat, very typically, or if they're not fresh off the boat, they haven't had any sales experience or any real estate experience. That's the whole point of our leasing team, to make sure that we are getting those people who are fresh, as I just said, to going into the sales team and then going to see bigger and better, which is actually a little bit of a change, because I remember when we sat here in Feb and we said that basically any agent who came to us, we let them do everything. And we've changed our philosophy slightly. Reason being is that there was always and seems to be a correlation that we experienced from when we really got going at the start of this year, because we rebranded the company at the start of 24 effectively. New managing director, Miles, who's great, sales managers, marketing team, everything in between. So we had a total rebrand, and we were noticing that the people who were the most successful, the ones that were doing their leasing deals first. And as a result, it means that people were staying with the company, and then we were seeing more growth as a result of that. So we decided to go from that strategy to a new strategy. And so far, I think it's working so far. I think it will continue to work. And as a team, we are growing quite significantly. I mean, as of speaking now, I have 7 members on our team. We've got another 4 or 5 who are coming to join us in January. And we're having an office renovation, which is coming up soon. So the company's going to get bigger, better. And it's exciting to watch. Like your podcast, it's getting bigger and better every time.
I'm delighted to hear that. So there wasn't a head of leasing before. There wasn't. No. Everybody did a bit. They did a bit of leasing. They potentially did some sales.
We were the jack of all trades. And as I said, we decided that it was best that we kind of niche down a little bit. It is a little bit of a 180 because we were very adamant that we just let everyone do everything, and we didn't put people in a straight jacket quote on. But we've now found that there is that correlation between putting people into leasing first. But a lot of people are like, oh, well, can't I go into sales first and all of that? And I'm sure you could, but it's a much longer process. Even if you were the best sales broker that's ever come on the floor, if you get a mortgage to mortgage deal, sometimes it can take up to 12 weeks to complete, right? And we also as a company have a financial obligation to make sure that these people don't sink, basically, that they don't fall under, because of course you're picking your life up, you're moving from wherever, mostly in the UK, but from wherever. And if you don't make money, it's going to get very expensive for you just to live. I mean, Dubai's not the cheapest place in the world, is it? So with that in mind, that's important.
Yeah. So you're thinking about it financially from the agent's point of view, but also from your point of view.
Well, just everything. I mean, it seems to make more sense. Maybe we'll have a conversation 6 months time. You're like, okay, no, maybe it wasn't like the best strategy. Maybe I don't know.
Well, most companies do what you do.
The big boys do. Yeah. I mean, you go to any of like let's call it the top 10 companies out there, they all have a leasing team, they all have a sales team. And I don't find that a coincidence. So it was like, okay, well, look, let's see how it runs. Maybe it works for us, maybe it doesn't. But so far, touch wood, inshallah, as they say, seems to be working okay.
And then are you focusing on areas as well? So will you have a leasing agent for the Marina or the Palm?
Yeah, so we narrow down. So it's really important to have, personally, area specialization doing the job, because being that jack of all trade brokers, it means that you are running around quite a lot. And again, going back to what I was just saying, we as a company and me as a manager have an obligation to make sure that we're getting these guys up and running as easy and as efficient as we can do. And if I said, here's Dubai, go and have fun, then okay, sure, I'm sure they will. But then I was just saying, the reason that I was a bit later arriving today was that I traveled from the Marina to downtown and it nearly took me 1 hour. This is a Friday afternoon as of time of recording.
Traffic's chaos at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's more from a practical point of view that there's not a lot of point in me saying, yeah, you can do everything, because they spend half the day in a car. Right?
Yeah.
When that's connections, there's networking, it's calls, it's follow-ups, it's everything in between that we're potentially limiting ourselves to. So area specialization is key. So the ones that we've really started focusing on is firstly Marina, because it's where our office is. There's a lot of stock in Marina. It's very hot. It's a great area for a rental broker because it transacts very fast as well. Downtown and Business Bay, we like that as well, because look, everyone who thinks of Dubai, they think of three things: Burj Khalifa, Burj Al Arab, Palm Jumeirah.
Yep.
Right. So we've got to be smart about that. And another one, a bit of a wild card actually, we've gone for JVC. And the reason why we've gone for JVC is because it's 90% investors. So therefore means, guess what? People want to rent. People want to go in. They want to go out. A lot of real estate brokers there as well, to be fair, but a lot of young single professionals, couples, and so on in JVC. So JVC has a lot of potential for the rental side. So that has been one of our main reasons for focusing on the Marina, downtown, and JVC. It's not an absolute. We will add people into different areas as well, but it's still, that's the main reason why we've targeted them in particular.
But I can think of another advantage of JVC, because if you've got these brokers coming on board and they haven't been involved before, it's easy to let the studios, the one beds in a place like JVC,
of course, it's
rather than a 5 beds villa on the Palm.
Rather they did that, but
just to get that income early on, turnover, isn't it?
Of course, you're absolutely
and gives you
right.
confidence.
Of course, it's all about the process, and it just circles back to what you and I were just discussing at the start. Is the whole point of this leasing team is basically to kind of christen you into the job. That welcome to Dubai real estate. It's tough. And then you can progress into the sales team with a bit of money, a bit of connections. And then you're going to be on your toes a little bit more, because as I was saying, sales is a lot harder. It's more in the sense of the bureaucracy that comes with sales. The start bit's generally the same: viewings, speaking, people, and so on. But it's the time and the manner in which a leasing broker can turn around things a lot quicker than the sales broker. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's JVC in particular is a volume game, but rentals generally is a volume game, because you will do a lot more rentals than you probably ever will sales generally.
So I'm going to go off at a slight tangent now. We're talking about traffic and getting around.
Yep.
Are you doing virtual tours like Matterport tours? Can you rent properties doing it like that?
Well, we don't directly use things on that ilk, but virtual tours, video tours are becoming more and more important. And I'm sure that AI in particular will start playing a huge role in Dubai real estate. I'm sure it has actually. Actually, I know I saw something, we spoke about it on one of our podcasts, that there was an AI robot that had closed a few $1 million US worth of real estate transactions. So, okay, interesting. Don't replace your real estate brokers. But still, I mean, it's that human interaction that comes about. So now going back to what you were just saying is that, yeah, video tours are very important. I remember for me, one of my first rentals that I ever did in Green Community was from a video tour. Someone called me on Property Finder. They said, I'm out of the country. This was during COVID. I have COVID, can't travel. Can you send me a video tour and we can see what we can do? And I remember they watched the video, like, we'll have it.
Yeah.
Easiest deal I think I ever did. Guy was easy, landlord was easy. Boom. So yeah, going to your point, virtual tours, video tours, hugely important. Social media as well. LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. I mean, I'm not the biggest social media guy, but still, social media is here to stay. It's really important to have a personal brand, because if you don't have a personal brand in 2024, coming up 2025, you will fall behind. We really encourage our guys to have personal branding. And a lot of our guys have embraced that. And we've had brokers who have done deals from Instagram, from LinkedIn. I've met people who I've met on LinkedIn in particular. So there's a load of ways that people can generate viewings in. Portals aren't the be all and end all. They're important, obviously. But again, just to circle back before we divulge too much, is yes, virtual tours are important, and we encourage our guys to use them as much as we can.
Yeah, because I don't know whether you remember, but when we first met, I was trying to encourage you to use me, wasn't I?
I do. I still remember our first meeting. Yeah, I do remember our first
because
meeting.
I hadn't started with EXP then, because EXP hadn't started in Dubai. I'd come a little bit early. Yeah, sure. So I thought, well, I met virtual tours worked so well for me in the UK. And I rented properties in the UK off the back of that. They didn't need to see it. Not always.
Doesn't surprise me.
And it would work even better here, I reckon. I don't think enough agents are using Matterport tools.
I agree. I don't think enough are using social media generally. And I know that's crazy to say in 2024, but I think that's a genuine thing. People are missing a big opportunity. Actually, I'm going to make my New Year's resolution. I'm going to say it on the camera now. I'm going to get my Instagram all ready to go for 2025. My LinkedIn's okay. I've actually doubled my following on LinkedIn this year, which I know you've had. Up to? I don't want to. You've had a lot of people with big numbers on. But look, I'll be transparent. I started with about 1,500 connections or followers in January. I think I'm like 300 at this point. So I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm not a big hitter. I don't have 100,000.
You do good posts on there.
I hope I do. I mean, it's more for me than anything. But I mean, look, it takes time. It does. I try and post at least once a week. But, you know, I'm growing the account. I'm slowly growing the account. And I mean, it's hugely important, because the more connections you make, the more people know you. And real estate is a trust game. Yeah. You and I spoke about it before. You've been a broker for a long time. I've been in the industry probably a bit longer than I ever thought it was going to be. But still, trust is a huge, huge part of the real estate journey, because it's one of the biggest things that anyone will do, right? Your home is your life. So having a real estate broker that can guide you and direct you in that direction is hugely important. So but I'm proud of my little account, actually. Maybe I'll get a few more off this. Follow me. But it's still good.
So you're gonna build up your Insta. That's interesting.
Why not? Let's go for it. Maybe TikTok as well.
But the other thing that I reckon people should do more of, use Insta, use TikTok, use LinkedIn, but direct it to a website if you can. Okay. That's my belief. Because you've got your own digital real estate with a website, and you're in control of it. Whereas LinkedIn and the other social ones, they can move around. Okay, no,
that's fair enough. I mean, having a good hub is important as well. I tell you another one that's coming up, X. I quite like X. I think X is a little bit of a hidden gem.
You talked about it last time.
I think it does have the potential. The traffic has gone up quite a lot on that portal in recent times. I think it was like in the US, for instance, it was one of the most downloaded apps of this year. So, I mean, that's another avenue. But the whole point is that the social media creme de la creme represents an individual, right? And I'm sure if it does link and direct to a website as well. I mean, a website is bigger. It's your shop window. That's what we describe for like Property Finder and Bayou and things like that. It is your shop window. It shows, can you actually get some good properties online, rent or sale, doesn't matter. Can you get good pricing, and can you do good marketing? All of that contribute to a successful real estate broker.
Yeah, well, one of my last guests was Stephen Leckie. Yeah. And he was talking about it, and he's somebody possibly of an age where he has help with it, but he pays for it himself. Yeah. So as well as House and House do other stuff, that's the agency that he works for. Sure. And it works really well for him.
Exactly.
But it is his website that seems to be the key thing, although he's on the other platforms.
Sure.
And it's interesting, and so that is personal branding, and that is inbound marketing, isn't it? Of course. You're getting others you're making yourself visible. Others see you, and then they contact you. The other way of doing it when you're new or you want to attract more business is cold calling.
Of course.
I mean, I know you can't say too much because there's sort of legal ramifications, but it is legal to cold call if you've already got them on your database. Sure. Do you encourage that?
Well, with that in mind, an inbound call is a lot easier, or an inbound connection is a lot easier than an outbound connection. But look, the thing is yes, I mean, there are certain parameters that we have to be careful about. But the thing that I tell all our guys, even if you're calling about the most obscure thing, right? If you give someone value on a phone call, real estate, recruitment, fill in the blank, doesn't matter what it is. If it's good, people won't care, okay? It's the ones who give calls who are dreadful, offer no value, have no substance. Of course, you're going to get annoyed. And if you keep, as let's say a landlord who owns a lot of properties in Dubai, and there's a lot of people who own a lot of properties, and you get these terrible calls 9 out of 10 times, then of course you're going to get frustrated and angry. But if you are that one person actually cares a little bit, does some research on my property, right, on our property, I don't want to big myself up here, but we get quite a few calls on that. I usually ask as a bit of fun, tell me, how much is my property worth? Do you want to know the range that I've had?
So this is a property you own yourself?
In JG, a 1-bed in JG. Nothing fancy. Nothing crazy.
And then you get calls from other brokers.
Yeah, I do. And it's quite fun. I've had 800K. It's probably worth like 1.2 at best, 1.3. Like 800K. And someone told me I get 2 million for it once. I'm like, okay, someone's not done their research. But again, if these are the calls you're getting, of course you're annoyed.
Yeah.
Right? Inbound is a lot easier. Outbound, okay, yes, it has its ramifications, but we're E&T. That's one good thing about us, a very good thing. We're 20 years old, right? We have a database as long as our arm, and it means that these conversations are much easier because chances they've either spoken to someone from E&T at some point because of the company's age, right? Our operation number is 193. Okay. It means that our company was established in 2004. So we're coming up 21 in February, but we've got 20 years on the market.
Yeah. Everyone's heard of Edwards and Towers.
Palm's biggest agent at one point, right? Yeah. We're slowly getting back to that status now, but huge. It makes a big difference. So yeah, going back to what you're saying there, just add value. Just give something back to people. It doesn't matter what industry, or you could be watching this and you could be in any industry that you want. But if you have a good conversation on the phone, you give value, sound different, sound genuinely enthusiastic, amazing how things suddenly change. And these conversations become 10x easier when you're actually giving something back to someone. Because you're like, oh, I want. Of course they're going to get annoyed. These guys get 1 million calls a day. Great. Be the one that stands out.
Yeah. And it worked for you at the green community, didn't it? You got well known there and had success.
I mean, look, there's always things that one can improve on. I mean, there are better agents out there than me, of course. But the thing that I like to...
But you made it work.
Well, to a degree, yeah. But I think the thing that sells me is me. Yeah. And I think it's just I try to be as authentic and as real as I can be. I mean, I like to hope there isn't any persona that comes across that's not genuine. So, I mean, that's for me, the most important thing is me, myself, and I. My brand image is one of the most important things to me, and it's the one thing that I can control. So, I mean, fill in a blank. It could be in any space, any industry, anything in particular. Then, of course, you as an individual represent yourself. And this is when I used to make a lot of calls, don't as much anymore, but I try to be as authentic as I could. And I like to hope that authenticity, sometimes it probably hurt me, but on other times it probably helped as well. And
it's still playing the long game. It's the best way. And
real estate's a relationship building business.
People speak highly of you. So that's...
if anyone says that real estate is not a long-term game, they're not telling you the truth. There will be people out there who will take years to sell their property. Big reason why we encourage leasing as well, because leasing is a lot quicker. It's not, it's important, but it's not, you do build the relationship, but it's not as deep rooted, let's say, because it doesn't have to be. But yeah, it's really important to actually give something back to people. And it's beyond important. If you don't, you fall behind. Same if you don't have social media. Same if you're not doing video tours. Just same as everything we've discussed thus far. If you don't have that, then...
Yeah, so it's early days with the leasing, but have you, are you anticipating some of those agents will then move on to sales?
Oh, 100%. I'd be very surprised if we didn't have some by the end of the year move. Yeah. And that's great. We've seen some of our guys really, really get their teeth into this so far. I mean, our leasing department's quite new, but the enthusiasm I've seen from some of our guys has been insane. And it's like, I like to see that. I really like to see it when they come out and say, I've had a really good day and we're going to go and make some life-changing money. I'm like, good for you. And it's nice to see some positivity as well. It's having a good office atmosphere, which I think we have, and, having a good brand image as well. But I mean, we're seeing some good activity levels. I mean, the guys are doing well so far, and may Lord it continue.
Yeah. So how are you are you doing Zoom calls to the UK?
So we have a great recruitment team as well. We've just taken on Daniela, who's our new recruitment manager. Great. Absolutely great. She's going to really energize the team slightly. But I've had a bit of fun with recruitment this year, Dave. I've had a bit of fun because I have never done recruitment in my life. But this year, I actually started dabbling into it a bit because I had to, with the team, build the leasing team. So we had a few people away on holiday. We had a few people that were away for just annual leave. And I thought, well, why don't I try and be helpful here? I try and be as useful as I can. I'm trying to do my day-to-day job. This was kind of the back end when I was transitioning from the training to the leasing.
You're a have-a-go type of guy, aren't you?
I like to be. But yeah, and I thought, well, I'll help out with the recruitment team. That was interesting. That was really...
It sounds like it might have been a bit of a challenge.
Recruitment was probably one of the most interesting things that I've ended up doing.
Did you make some mistakes?
Yeah, I did, but it was more the eye-openingness of it. It was really intriguing to do it because, I've been in few companies now. You see people come, you see people go, and so on and so on. But you don't really think a lot about the dynamics of it. But I tell you what, we mostly try and get people from the UK because we're a British company. Obviously, we go for everyone where we can. But the amount of CVs that have been written by ChatGPT is generally terrifying. I'm a hardworking, determined individual. I think I saw that. I was like, I've seen the CV once. I'm like, oh no, it's the same. Oh no, it's the same. Interesting. A lack of authenticity.
Same prompt going
lack of authenticity is being quite an interesting
opposite
one.
Of you.
And I tried my best to be. Another thing, when I was a kid, I watched Casper the Ghost. I've now met Casper the Ghost quite a lot. I reckon 1 in 3 people ghost on a course. Generally, like, it's manners.
Yeah.
Manners.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, it's and another thing, sorry to intrude, is that when we've been speaking to people, I've been speaking to some really good candidates. I've been really excited about them. The number one thing, and this goes on to the UK at the moment, people aren't in a good financial position at the minute in the UK. I think younger people in particular as well, because we've been speaking to people like, yeah, I'd love to come, but I don't have the relocation. And it's like, wow. Okay. And you speak to some of these people and it's like, that's, because bearing in mind, for those who don't know the industry in Dubai, if you're watching this for the first time, it's commission only.
Yeah.
And, you can make a lot of money from being commission only, but it's like any new business, right? If you start a brand new business, being a real estate broker in Dubai is setting up your own business just without the overheads. That's basically what it is. It's franchising. Let's call it franchising. But to start a business, it's not, click your fingers. Oh, I'm a millionaire. And if anyone tells you that as well, they're lying to you. But it's crazy. It's scary, actually. So yeah, recruitment was a real eye opener. I'm really glad I did it. Like, I'm really glad. I try and diversify myself as much as I can. I'm a chatty guy. I've had some very authentic chats with a lot of people from the UK, some of whom now are obviously coming over to join us. But yeah, recruitment was a real eye opener. And just generally looking at ENT, just to have, I'm not a managing director or anything, but just seeing how things run between finance, between IT, between brokers, sales, leasing, even the cleaners. Just having a better idea how a business runs has been interesting. But yeah, recruitment was.
So you've got more respect for these recruitment staff now who
I have. But the thing is that's why, and I say this to recruiters as well, please also look at some CVs. Okay. What I mean by that is that sometimes when people reach out, and this isn't just real estate recruiters, they don't seem to read your LinkedIn profile some of the time. I don't want to bash people. I'm not going to, but yeah, and that's the same for candidates too. Look at the job advert before you apply for it, because there's a lot of people who apply, they're not qualified for the position. Yeah. They're not qualified. And, I reckon we got thousands of people who apply for the job. I'm sure others are the same as well, but a lot of people just not qualified. And it's just, people just literally press. Come on. Come on. Think about it. Think about it a little bit harder. But yeah, AI, going back to viewings and things, it's ChatGPT has definitely started to creep in a lot. And it is on social media as well.
But it's got to be used correctly, isn't it? If it's used correctly, it's brilliant.
Yeah, of course. It's fantastic.
But don't get it to write
I love
CV.
AI. It's the best thing. But you go on LinkedIn, the amount of posts that go, exciting news. And you're like, okay. And you go on, you make a LinkedIn thing or go on ChatGPT and you ask it to make anything. It always starts with exciting news. Right, you didn't write this. ChatGPT wrote this. And, other AIs are available. But still, it's good. AI is good. You've got to use it correctly, though. Just be authentic, be real.
Yeah. I want to talk about Edwards and Towers.
Go on.
Because you're talking about they've been around, 21 years?
Yeah, 21 years in Feb, yeah.
And they were around when I was here the first time.
Sure.
Along with Better Homes, who are number one and still right up there.
Sure.
But then there was Landmark Properties, there's a real estate specialist, there's Group 7, Link, Landmark. There were a lot of these names. They've all disappeared.
Yeah. Okay.
Why have Edwards and Towers succeeded and had this longevity?
I would say Mark and Dave, the co-founders, probably had quite a lot to do with it. And I think it was more in turn of just building up a level of trust with people. It goes back to what we've just been discussing. Give people value and they will always come back to you.
And these guys are still involved, aren't they?
They're both still the company, both still there. Yeah. I mean, they're still plodding on and they're still going, but give people value and they will always come back to you. Consistency is king. keep in touch with them, you give value, hey presto, people come back. And I think the reason why E&T has been so successful is because once people then get an idea, look, you've probably had it yourself in the UK and here as well, is that you do a good job for one person, it dominoes. Then all of a sudden you get a call from some random person that said, oh, you helped Fred, or you helped Dave, or you helped Steve do A, B, and C thing at one point. Can you help me? And yeah, I mean, I've had it myself, right? I remember I helped some lady rent her, what was it? It was a villa in Arabian Ranches a few years ago. And then as a result of that, my number ended up in some expat forum group for Singapore people coming from Singapore to Dubai. And the amount of messages and calls I got as a result of that were like, oh yeah, you helped out A, B, and C person. Can you help us? I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, going back to what you're saying, I think the reason why E&T have been so successful is because we've given value, trusted brand image, and just sheer drive and determination. A combination of all three really make a business thrive and succeed, personally.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And then before we wrap up, why are you still positive on Dubai?
Oh, why am I still positive?
The market, we were talking about it in February, and the market's moved on quite a bit in percentage terms.
Yeah, September and October have been really competitive for the Dubai real estate market. And I don't think the reasons have changed at all for why Dubai has been as successful as it has been. One, it's very easy to do business here. Number two, it's where it's geographically positioned. We're very close to Asia. Obviously, we're in Asia, but we're very close to like Eastern Asian markets. We're very close to Europe. So it means it's very, very good for the time zones for pretty much everywhere. Thirdly, bar the summer, the weather. I mean, the weather's the best here from like now until May. Can't really beat the weather in Dubai. Low 30s, light winds, perfect golf weather. So it's good on that as well. Tax advantage. I think that's also...
And tax is only going one way in the UK and other Western...
It's going up and up and up. Actually, we were speaking about this before. If you earn £100,000 in the UK as a salary at the moment, you will get taxed 40% on that. Right. So before you even begin, your 100,000 is now 60,000. Now, most real estate brokers in Dubai can earn £100,000 a year, as long as they work hard.
Yeah.
How much do they keep? £100,000.
It's a massive difference.
So it's, having that taken away from you. Oh, and by the way, if I want a hospital in the UK, I have to wait 12 hours at the NHS. Okay. Want to go get a doctor? See you in 7 weeks. Want to call the police? Yeah, we'll come tomorrow. And it's more like, I love the UK and British to the core. We'll never not be British. But in that regard there, the UAE does things a little bit more efficiently. And as someone who likes to earn quite a lot of money, and for anyone who's aspiring to, it's a no-brainer. Why would you not pick Dubai over the UK?
And people watching podcasts like this, and there's plenty of podcasts, or they're getting referrals from friends. There's just going to be more and more coming over, isn't there?
I agree. I mean,
what's going to stop it?
I don't think there is. I mean, obviously Trump being elected now could potentially change the course of a few things. I mean, Dubai has always been a safe haven for conflict. Trump has said he will do his best to try and end as many international conflicts as possible. Whether he succeeds, I don't know. How long's a piece of string?
He bombed Syria when he was in last time, didn't he?
Well, I mean, it's more the last time Trump was in office, the prices in Dubai actually went down. And that doesn't mean now I'm becoming bearish on Dubai. I still think the opposite, because I think that even with any external things like Trump or anything like that, is that the UAE has positioned itself to be a good place to do business. And people are aware of that, especially from the UK. I think a lot of people, or the US has always been a destination for Brits, of course, but still, I think if you had to pick between the US or UAE, still a lot more people are going to come to Dubai. It's only a 7-hour flight, 6-hour, whatever it is, depending where you're coming from, of course. So, I mean, I'm still very bullish on Dubai. I think as a younger person who has aspirations and wants to succeed, Dubai is an absolute no-brainer for anyone that's, let's say, from 18 to 25 in particular. You're hungry for success. You want to start a business. It's a great crypto scene here as well. Crypto's going forward. It's just
very crypto friendly, isn't it?
Oh, it's very crypto. You can buy things on Bitcoin here.
Yeah, you can buy and you can sell it if you do want to move into property from crypto. There's no capital gains tax. Well, nothing. Hardly any tax at all.
You can go to some developers and literally buy these properties with crypto.
Yeah.
Mad. Try and do that in the UK. It'd take you 3 months to do the conveyancing process, and then say computer says no. Right.
Yeah.
So, it's very...
Well, that's just the conveyancing, but you've got to convert it from crypto into sterling. Haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to go through all your AML and your KYC and having your accounts closed. It's a nightmare.
I mean, look...
Whereas here, it's a lot easier.
I love the UK. We'll always be proud to be British, but we've got to change something at home. We've got to change something at home. Will we ever? I don't know. I mean, this place is a lot more entrepreneurial friendly. The UK, obviously, it has good business. It's the home of finance of Europe and London in the city. But still, I mean, entrepreneurship is a lot more welcomed in Dubai. You feel a lot more open to be entrepreneurial here. Safe as well. So I'm still very bullish on Dubai. Let's see how life unfolds in the coming weeks, months and years. But there's a lot of people still moving. They've got the 2040 vision plan that Dubai has offered, which increased, I believe, is it to 5 billion people?
7.8, I think.
Okay, there you go. So there's a double of persons in 16 years. They've got to live somewhere, right? So I'm still bullish in that because they're not going to live in the desert. So, they're going to need homes. They're going to need all that. Some really exciting projects which are coming up for the off-plan sector as well. I won't name any, but there's a few that are really coming up that look exciting.
And the thing is, you and I are here. We're here to take advantage of it, and as more and more people come from wherever in the world, it's going to be good.
The only disadvantage, traffic.
Yeah, traffic's not great, but I think communities in the future will be more self-contained.
They're changing it anyway. I mean, look,
and that's why I talk about the virtual tours, because that cuts out traffic, doesn't it? If you're an agent, and
of course. And I mean, even forgetting that slightly, I mean, the roads are being improved at the moment. I mean, look at our Garn El Sabqa at the moment. They've just done a new bridge that's going across basically from Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed all the way across to the Marina, without any stopping anymore. And you've got the Al Khail works they've just done, JVC, Dubai Hills, even a bit closer to Business Bay and all of that as well. They've done loads of roadworks that have come, which has made traffic a lot better. And it will continue to get better because there's always that forward thinking, and there's always that let's go into the future and see how things can go. And I said, I'm still bullish on this place, and I think a lot of people should be too.
Yeah, still very cheap by international standards with similar cities.
Try and buy anything in Hong Kong for the same you get here. I bet it's like 4 times the price. Singapore is really hard to buy property. That is really hard to buy property in Singapore. London, I mean, it's still very expensive, but it's very unsafe nowadays as well. Dubai has the safety element. So Dubai is, I'm bullish on it because I said, I think you're right. We are undervalued here.
Yeah.
Will it go up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
To more people, supply and demand.
It's only going one way.
Basic economics, right? Supply and demand. More people you have, more things cost. Right.
Yeah.
And so take advantage of that. Listen to your good old real estate brokers and really take advantage of this. I mean, look, markets have gone up and up and up. Yeah, fine. Sure. Fair enough. But, I don't see any reason why they would come down, as long as you buy smart, of course. But I think they'll keep just going up, personally.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
No, I think I would say just generally, look, it's been a great year for real estate.
Yeah.
It's been a great year for our company in particular. We are looking to still expand. And I like to hope that 2025, we're halfway through a decade. We're halfway through a decade, right? COVID was nearly 5 years ago now. And I think that we're still bullish. We're still moving forward. I'm looking forward to what the future brings for you, for us. And I hope that your channel keeps growing the way it has. I know you've got some big names coming. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to watching them too.
Yeah, cheers. And then if anybody wants to come from the UK or elsewhere, I'll put your details in the show notes.
Feel free to reach out, and I'll
put yours and then also Edwards and Towers, because you want to sell and lease property as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So Dave, I really appreciate your time. Thank you as always. And I'm sure we'll speak again.
Thanks very much, Morgan.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.